What's up guys, it is Dan and Nick back with another episode of F1 2021 Sprint Championship. Mick Schumacher's lead is about to be undone as realistic performance has been turned on now instead of equal cars, just to make it a bit easier for us to overtake when we have a crash. Now let's get into it.
The British Grand Prix.
What race is this? I can't even... Oh, it's Japan.
Mick Schumacher. A tremendous start.
Of course, Justin Freshpot does challenge for the lead, but there are no changes. Further back, Radiant Slothz gets round Fernando Alonso as they come.
Who's he going to crash into?
Charging down to turn 2, Fernando Alonso.
He's crashed into Fernando Alonso.
Fernando Alonso unfairly crashes into Radiant Slothz.
That was 100% your fault.
Definitely
you moved
was
across on him.
Radiant Slothz has gone off
Radiant
the track
Slothz
again.
Highlights that he just cannot drive.
He comes back onto the track. Fernando Alonso getting his revenge.
You have to say, 2 collisions that were quite clearly Radiant Sloth's
The second one was not me, that was him.
You pulled onto the track in front of him.
He could see me coming back on. I indicated.
You're not meant to do that, as Justin Freshpot takes the lead because he's much better.
The Mick Schumacher. Are equal cars still on at this point? I don't think he is.
I think this is the race where we turn them on.
Yeah, looking at how
As you
Mick
can tell
Schumacher...
by how far Mick Schumacher is dropping back.
I mean, he's been overtaken by a Ferrari, so it's definitely not on equal cars anymore. As Lewis Hamilton oh, this is lap 4 already, so much like in season 1 of the Cup career, nothing happens during this race, and Fernando Alonso inexplicitly is at the back. And here we go again for the final corner. As he
Justin
comes
Freshpot
round.
clips his apexes perfectly for his first win and his first points of this season.
It's about time.
A great driver.
And Radiant Slothz does finish the race.
Dead last. A great win for Justin Freshpot.
And a Ferrari makes the podium. Well, here we go. Drivers' Championship. Unfortunately, Radiant Slothz on his measly 8 points is now so close to the bottom of the table. And Aston Martin beginning to suffer.
Onto the Italian Grand Prix. Justin Freshpot starting in second alongside Lewis Hamilton. Radiant Slothz behind. Who's going to get the best start?
As we come down
Justin
towards turn 1.
Freshpot.
Justin Freshpot does maintain the lead by quite a distance. Radiant Slothz is losing positions hand over fist behind.
The McLaren now feeding everyone a slipstream. Luckily, he turned off equal cars.
Radiant Slothz now trying to fight off with the Alpine, which for some reason is doing very well, even though equal cars is turned off at this point. And Lewis Hamilton takes the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix. A race which he is known for winning the Drivers' Championship in before. Maybe it's a sign of things to come. As Radiant Slothz challenged Carlos Sainz. There is contact, I won't lie, but both drivers seem to be okay. As they come round turn 3, we go for the onboard shot.
Into the Parabolica. Radiant Slothz all over the track.
On the inside, he gets past Carlos Sainz, but loses 3 positions in the meantime.
You'd have to say, there was no need for Radiant Slothz to cause yet another collision. Will that even be his last one of this race? We'll find out.
There are so many collisions in these races for me that I honestly have no idea at this point. I'm still P6 and we're on the final lap of the race. Justin Freshpot finishes. And this time he does cross the line after he crashes.
A great drive from Justin Freshpot.
And that's all for Brazil. It's a 5 and 6 for Aston Martin. Lewis Hamilton now dominating the Drivers' Championship. And Radiant Slothz It's still
finally
last.
falls to the bottom of the championship. A sad showing from the Aston Martin driver.
Has somehow still third. I mean, like, what? How is that even possible?
As we go on to the Italian Grand Prix, Radiant Slothz starting in P14.
Justin
What can he
Freshpot
do?
P9 as we head towards the final corner. At the start of the race, he goes up
Heading
the
into
inside.
Radion.
Now remember, no heroics into
He
Sam
hits his
Devot.
teammate.
Justin Freshpot
He
sideways
cuts a
again.
corner.
He goes to look around the outside of Fernando Alonso and Mick Schumacher or Kimi Räikkönen. I can't even tell who's actually supposed to be in what position right now. As we come down towards the Chinese hairpin. Very fair with Lando Norris. They are still side by side, but Lando Norris does want to come back up the inside. And he gets the position back from Radiant Slothz, who slots into P13 with his teammate behind him.
Who he'll probably crash into.
Justin Freshpot up ahead, leading this small group with a small gap to Yuki Tsunoda in front of him. Of course, the young Japanese driver has been signed with Mercedes. This is just a end of season
Interesting line
friendly
from Radiant Slothz there. As we go on board with Justin Freshpot. What a driver.
Takes P7.
Easily makes it past Yuki Tsunoda at his home race and goes through the final
That's a
corner.
contentious statement to make right there. As Justin Freshpot with his interesting lap counter. Yuki Tsunoda is now 2 laps down. We're not quite sure how, but he is. As Justin Freshpot takes the position away from Nicholas Latifi, which some would describe as like taking candy from a baby.
And, or should I say, Radiant Sloths, known for frequently stealing from children.
I don't even know how to follow that. What the fuck? What was that?
Well, how do you know what taking candy from a baby is like?
It's just a figure of speech as Justin Freshpot
Well,
cuts the corner up the inside of Esteban Ocon, loses the position, comes back on the outside. Massive track extend from Justin Freshpot, who some would describe as
And
an
he's
unfair
ahead.
driver.
What an overtake from the young world champion in the making as we go on board with Radiant Sloths, which usually means we're about to see a crash.
Oh, and it's an
As he steams
amazing
up the
dive
inside,
bomb. No
Locks
contact.
up, hits Lewis Hamilton, hits him again for good
There's
measure.
no contact whatsoever.
As he hits Lewis Hamilton a third time.
That is definitely Lewis Hamilton making contact with Radiant Sloths there, and not the other way
Oh, and
around.
he hits him a fourth time.
What an excellent batter.
And
And
he
Lewis
hits him
Hamilton
again.
makes a mistake. And
Radiant
loses
Sloths
the car.
hitting the front wheel of the Mercedes, spinning it around.
Justin Freshpot gets
Justin
past.
Freshpot makes yet another overtake without crashing into anyone.
Italian
How
Jesus.
does he do it?
Furious.
Radiant Sloths. He
Gets
makes an
past.
overtake.
Gets past the Iceman.
Who's he going to crash into?
Absolutely nobody. Up ahead, Mick Schumacher battling with Lance Stroll into the final corner, compromising both their exits. And Radiant Sloths managed to get past Mick Schumacher. He's going to look down the inside of his teammate as well. And it's a mistake. It was a car too far.
Radiant Sloths with another disappointing performance. It has to be said.
As we finish across the line, Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen take a Red Bull 1-2. As I go through and save the replays, Max Verstappen catching Lewis Hamilton in the driver's
Justin
standings.
Freshpot propelling himself up the standings. Radiant Sloths still holds tight onto that last place.
Gripping onto it like a vice. Williams,
You can really see
dropping
the impact that's having on Aston Martin.
as they sit behind Williams in the Constructors' Championship.
The Italian Grand Prix. Justin
it's
Freshpot in fourth
Lights
around
out.
one of his better tracks. What can he make happen?
He's challenging his teammate now. Goes around the outside into turn 1. He's made contact with his teammate. Some would say
everyone
foul
comes
play.
out all right.
As we go down,
the team know that he is the better driver around this track, so they let him through.
Mick Schumacher.
As he chases down Mick Schumacher, who is already 1 lap behind.
This is on board with Radiant Slothz at the start. Now we'll see what happened to him. Probably nothing good, because it never is. And it's a good pull away. We're looking into the top left corner. He's pushed onto the grass by Yuki Tsunoda. Gets around the outside, but is boxed in by the Red Bull. Yuki Tsunoda hits him again for no reason. Unbelievable. And a third time. And then they go 3 wide into the first chicane, and it's all over.
You cannot go 3 wide through. You have to say the blame lies solely with Radiant Slothz, as he pulls in front of Pierre Gasly.
A very kind man.
French.
A very kind man helping out Radiant Slothz face the right way once again. As Yuki Tsunoda will try and make contact again to try and get the position. He does make contact, but loses out. Justin Freshpot on Mick Schumacher. Is there really anything that we can say about this? He's passed.
What a manoeuvre.
Incredible.
Didn't even need DRS as he flies through the Wall of Champions, named after him.
That is a very bold thing to say. Just like Jeff Bezos as Yuki Tsunoda.
Radiant Slothz here, being overtaken by a Williams. You have to say that is disappointing.
Some would say that Yuki Tsunoda deliberately slowed down to stop Radiant Slothz from defending from George Russell as he gets the position back without much of a challenge whatsoever. And we come into the Wall of Champions. He hits the Wall of Champions because that is what he is deep down.
Fernando Alonso 1 minute and 10 seconds behind Sergio Perez, who is
just
about 100 metres up the road. As Justin Freshpot looks for another overtake.
Mick Schumacher 2 laps behind, as you can see in the background.
Fernando Alonso overtaken on the lap twice in that corner as Radiant Slothz cuts 2 corners and spears into the pit wall. How does he do it?
Unsurprising from Radiant Slothz at this point as we go on to the final lap.
Final lap.
The desperate
Justin
tail.
Freshpot has made 1 overtake per lap. If he makes 1 more, he'll be the winner of the race. Perez
in front.
Does not put up much of a fight. A slight corner cut.
There's a yellow flag. We're not sure what that's for. Why is there a yellow flag?
They just like that flag.
It's his favourite colour. And Radiant Slothz crosses the line in 20th place. Well, Lewis Hamilton, the first man to break 100 points. Radiant Slothz still trying to get to 20. Red Bull take the lead of the Constructors' Championship. And we're in for another race.
The Italian Grand Prix, famously held at night. Radiant Slothz starting in P18, another poor qualifying performance from him.
The random grid qualifying not exactly playing to his favour.
He loses a position, he gains a position. He hits the Toro Rosso.
Knocked about by Pierre Gasly. He is not making friends with the AlphaTauris. Why are there so many teams with A at the start of their name? God damn it. As he gets up the inside of Valtteri Bottas onto the DRS straight where there is no DRS right now. Everyone really packed together right now. There's a McLaren round again. Oh, it's bumper cars. Shocking
Massive collision on the straight.
My goodness, what is wrong with that McLaren? You spent more time going sideways than he has going forward so far.
Here we see Justin Freshpot. The Red Bull takes a swing at him, but he avoids it. Alongside now, Giovinazzi. You can't say the second part of his last name.
Now we're coming up to the part where it just all fell apart for him as we come onto the straight. Of course, we've cut to the camera angle where we can't see jack shit, but Sergio Perez comes up the inside. He turns in on him. He
He
turns in
hits
on
the
him.
rear left of the McLaren. There's nothing he can do.
Hunted by
He
Pierre Gasly.
slightly gets in everyone's way, but through the safety in Formula One, is able to carry on.
Radiant Sloth's up the inside of Pierre Gasly. I keep wanting to say Yuki Tsunoda, but he's not up with him at the moment, and he gets around with no contact, which is quite amazing that he managed to do that for once. And Justin Freshpot on board now as he challenges Lewis Hamilton. He's alongside him, coming up towards DRS Straight 1, the Wellington Straight, as he's lining up on Pierre Gasly as well. Radiant Sloth's ahead of them, challenging Kimi Räikkönen. Kimi Räikkönen's round! It's a mistake from Räikkönen, and Justin Freshpot capitalises on that as well. And now he will challenge Radiant Sloths, who bends over and gives him the place. DRS for the McLaren, not too difficult to make that pass.
Especially on a rookie driver like Radiant Sloths.
Radiant Sloths following and spins.
A great drive. He really does not want to finish anywhere but last as he smashes the Aston Wellington into the wall.
As the McLaren challenges George Russell now. A massive track extent for him. It's a good job this isn't Monaco, although it might as well just be Monaco. And he now challenges Mick Schumacher and takes away the hopes and dreams of his father as he takes P11 on the final lap in the final sector as we come round following through this horrible section of corners into a corner that we're very familiar with on this channel, and he crashes into the wall to celebrate. The McLaren bill exceeding the hundreds of millions for the amount of cars he's written off just by celebrating.
Radiant Sloths picks up yet another P20.
And Lewis Hamilton remains on 100 points. Esteban Ocon also up there challenging. And Radiant Sloths falls further behind. 69 points for Aston Martin. An incredible tally. And it's all to play for. Oh, okay then.
We'll never know.